You smile very well. So well that others believe you're always fine. And you're rarely asked if you're tired. There are people like that, going through life with a lightness that's hard to name. That smile doesn't come from naivety, but from something that has been trained very carefully. Later, I realized it's a psychological skill. It begins when a person learns how to be still in this world. Have you noticed people who grew up in tolerance, or those who built an extremely solid relationship with themselves? Their smile has thickness. It's not fragile like a flower petal that falls easily before the wind, but steady like an ancient tree trunk. I once met a friend. During a disastrous project failure, everyone was worried, but she still smiled gently. "It's okay. We can do it again." When I asked why she was so calm, she simply said, "Because I know that even if I fail, I'll still come home to someone waiting for me with a warm meal." That smile came from absolute peace of mind. When a person feels loved, they have a type of psychological insurance. But some smiles don't come from joy, but from familiarity. Familiar with soothing the atmosphere. Familiar with keeping things from going too far. Familiar with the role of making conversations easier to breathe. You don't learn this through direct teaching. You learn it through trial and error. I realized this quite late, after asking myself why some days I wasn't sad, but not happy either, just tired. And then I noticed that smiles appeared almost automatically, especially when others were there. Psychology doesn't call it cheerfulness. They call it social regulation. It helps you not overreact, helps relationships run smoothly, helps you get through difficult situations without making things worse. Many people possess this skill at a very high level, to the point where the smile appears almost immediately, even before they recognize their initial emotion. You are the one who always has to come home with a parched throat because you spent all day smiling on behalf of others' emotions. You smile to make customers less uncomfortable. Smile to keep family meals from becoming battlefields. But the price paid is the depletion of internal energy. You're the coordinator for the whole world, but you forget to coordinate peace for yourself. At the end of the day, when the stage curtain closes, you're left with only a worn-out face and an empty heart, because you gave away too much lubricant and forgot to refill yourself. I once spent a lot of time observing people like that, and sometimes I saw myself in them. There are smiles that originate from an old kitchen, where a child realized that every time they cried, the family atmosphere would become more tense, or their parents would look at them with disappointed eyes. So it chose to smile. It smiled to be praised as well-behaved, smiled to keep parents from arguing, smiled to exchange for a false safety. When grown, that child carries that survival contract into every relationship. This concealment is so subtle that even you are deceived. You use a smile to politely deflect concern, because you're too tired to explain. Why explain when you know for sure that the person opposite can never reach the deepest layer of that pain? The deeper you understand human emotions, the less you let your own emotions show, because you understand the laws of emotion very clearly. You know a small reaction can trigger a chain of other reactions, and you choose to stop it from the beginning. The interesting thing lies here. People who always smile are usually not more emotional than others. They control their emotions tighter than others. Inside them exists a very clear structure. Personal emotions are always placed after general stability, not because they don't value themselves, but because, in their operating system, environmental stability is prioritized higher than releasing personal emotions. They smile because they find this life interesting. Even in troubles, Their positivity isn't denial of difficulties, but repositioning difficulties. They look at a problem and smile like looking at a difficult-level puzzle game. This energy is extremely attractive because it's liberating. Being beside them, you suddenly find your worries so small. You cherish them because they don't teach you how to live. They just use their smile to show you, hey, living lightly is okay too. Look at me. There's something few people understand. When facing people who always smile brightly, you see them cheerful, charming, humorous at the right time. Beside them, everything is comfortable. I've heard many people say they like being near people like that because it feels very safe, very easy to breathe. You don't need to explain much. They themselves have the energy of acceptance. Because they are loved, they have surplus kindness to spare for you. Not scrutinizing flaws, smiling at mistakes like smiling at a clumsy child. Their radiant smile is a safe zone. You can be anyone when beside them, and they will still smile at you with the most sincere appreciation. It must be understood. Not everyone is lucky to be given that smile. Many people to create that pleasantness. Inside them, a continuous adjustment process takes place. Psychologists call this an adaptive coping mechanism, helping people survive in environments that demand high emotional stability. When the brain learns that smiling helps reduce risk, it begins to prioritize that choice. The smile becomes a reflex. Initial emotions are pushed back. They're often called by endearing words: cheerful, positive, lovely. Few think that behind that humor is a thick enough layer of experience to understand how life operates. Their humor usually carries the rhythm of someone who has seen enough. Rarely naivety. I once knew people like that. In gatherings, they're usually the ones making the whole group laugh. When someone tells a sad story, they know how to listen, then respond with a phrase just warm enough to make the other person feel lighter. In psychology, people who have experienced many fluctuations often develop empathy very early. Their brain learns to recognize others' emotions faster than average. Therefore, you can often sense tension when one more sentence could make things worse. And it's precisely that sensing ability that makes you choose to smile instead of pushing things further. The smile is proof that you've finished healing yourself. When you've already gone through long nights screaming in silence, you accumulate a very large capital of the soul. Smiling because you truly have surplus joy to give. Facing an irritable person and you choose understanding because you see your past self's shadow in them. The smile now is a bestowal. You don't need them to smile back. You don't need them to understand you. You smile because you feel complete. That's the feeling of a person standing high looking down at small waves. You don't despise them. You just find them so gentle compared to the vastness of the ocean in your heart. I see the bright spot in how a person accepts their own flaws. Instead of straining to be perfect, you smile before your own mistakes. I was wrong again. But it's okay. I'll do it again. This smile brings a tremendous freedom. You're no longer afraid of being exposed by anyone, because you've already revealed everything to yourself and forgiven yourself long ago. When you have nothing left to hide from yourself, your smile becomes genuine and has enormous power. Interacting with people who have gone through enough ups and downs to maintain a conscious smile, the first thing you feel isn't warmth, but safety. Most of us, when communicating, carry a hidden agenda. We want to be praised, want to be recognized, or fear being judged. But being beside this person, you find that pressure to perform suddenly disappears. Why are they so respected by everyone? because they are the rare people in this world who don't demand anything from your emotions. They don't need you to praise them as good, don't need you to pity their pain. And it's precisely that, not needing that, creates a deadly attraction. I see their energy like a boulder in rushing water. Water can flow strongly, can be murky, but the stone remains still and cool. Don't you realize that most of our relationships are mutual energy borrowing? We seek others to fill the void. But people with this free smile are a full glass. When beside them, you don't feel energy being extracted. On the contrary, you feel yourself relaxing. They don't judge your words. They're not hasty to give advice. They just smile. A smile that seems to say, just be yourself. This world is troubled enough. Here, you don't need to perform anymore. The affection everyone has for them doesn't come from them being kind in an easy way. It comes from steadiness. You'll find these people extremely rarely participate in drama, gossip, or petty disputes, not because they're noble, but because they're lazy to spend the peace that was so difficult to build on useless things. It's precisely this gentle standing outside that makes them a pillar. When something happens, everyone automatically looks toward them. Why? Because in a panicking crowd, their smile is the only evidence showing everything will be okay. I've seen worse than this. Sometimes people cherish you because they crave to be like you. Your energy is a reminder of what they've lost. Watching you smile gently, you're like a mirror, reflecting a free version they forgot long ago. A truly radiant smile is not a skill that can be learned in communication classes. It's the result of a soul-nurturing process. If you want that smile, don't learn how to pull your lip muscles. Learn to love yourself first. Build yourself a foundation where, even if the world collapses, you still find yourself valuable. Then, your smile will automatically shine. I hope, from tomorrow, every time you smile, it will be a happy choice, not a survival obligation. Don't forget that even when you can't smile, you're still completely worthy of being cherished. Hallelujah.